Hello and welcome everyone to the online opening, wherever you are. Wherever you are in cyberspace, to the online opening of the exhibition Goddesses of Art Nouveau. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy that all of you are here as well. My name is Tessel Bauduin. I'm an art historian at the University of Amsterdam. And we have a wonderful, short but sweet program for you today with the curator, the guest curator of the exhibition, the director of the museum, the book, and also impressions of the show itself. I would like to start first with the obvious. This is an opening and the museum is not open. That's the way things are at the moment. The Allard Pierson, of course, has also the COVID regulations. You see, I'm losing my words because it's such a difficult situation for everyone, also for the museum. But nevertheless, the exhibition will be open. And as things look now, they will be opened on the 20th of January. So please consider this opening event your first taster of what is to come. And please feel free to already plan your visit on the 20th. And as soon as it's possible, you will be able to get your tickets. And if you come to the Allard Pierson in January or February, I can tell you there is an extra presentation, a bonus, that is a small collection presentation, Letters of Art Nouveau. A presentation by curator Mathieu Lommen about the graphic arts of Art Nouveau. And I must say, I've been in the privileged position of having seen the exhibition already. Last week, in the last stages of it, I was able to go and see. I can really recommend it. It's worth the wait. And one of the reasons I'm so happy to see it, to see a show dedicated to this movement, Art Nouveau, is that in art history, which is my background, Art Nouveau is a little bit of a stepchild. I must say, you have the great renewal movements in France at the end of the 19th century, Impressionism, Post-Impressionism. Then you have the renewal of the avant-gardes. Everything is made new by Cubism or Futurism or even Dada. But there's also something in between. That period is known as the fin de siècle and consequently no, not consequently. After that, I mean to say the Belle Époque. And of course, there's also art then. It's symbolism and also Art Nouveau. And I'm so happy to see this extensive show showing all the great works of Art Nouveau. And the one thing is that it is, of course, also quite new. It's called Art Nouveau, new art. I also find Art Nouveau to be very urgent to the contemporary moment, but I will leave it up to you to decide whether it is. And you can decide for yourself when you visit. So without further ado, we're going to move to my first guest of the day. That is the director of the Allard Pierson, Wim Hupperetz. Wim, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to do the opening here. I'm so happy to have you. You have a few words that you would like to say. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Dear friends, dear partners, and of course a special welcome to our German partners in Karlsruhe and Braunschweig, and of course our lenders on the exhibition. On behalf of all my colleagues, I want to welcome you to this online preview on the exhibition Goddesses of Art Nouveau. Because of the recent lockdown, we have to wait until next year before you can visit the exhibition. But we are so proud, and since we already have postponed the opening once before, we also are happy to give you at least a glimpse on the show. Art Nouveau shows a flamboyant pictorial repertoire that could be seen in all parts of European culture during the last decade of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th century. Art Nouveau was everywhere. The fact that the world was changing and that technological, political, economic developments had a major impact on people's lives played also an important role in the Art Nouveau. The partners in this international collaboration are, next to the Allard Pierson, the Badisches Landesmuseum in Karlsruhe, the Braunschweigisches Landesmuseum in Braunschweig, and they have taken the interesting era and the combination of societal developments and the rise of a new art as a motive to research, combine, and present their Art Nouveau collections in combination, of course, with the loans, so generously lent by our colleagues. Together, we decided to focus on the representation of the female figure in Art Nouveau as an aspect that has been underexposed so far. And together, the cooperation partners created in this way a new European narrative about this European art movement based on their own collections. The style is found in the fields of architecture, painting, sculpture, graphics, jewelry, fashion, furniture, and other applied arts. And this means that the Art Nouveau objects in museums are often hidden in different sub-collections and are often ordered to the regional production centers. But with this project and this collaboration, the partners wanted to link the Art Nouveau collections of these 3 European museums, explicitly opting for a cross-regional and international perspective. And so we would like to make new narratives accessible and linking them with each other. From this starting point, our guest curator, Yvonne Brentjens, did research and worked out the concept on Goddesses of Art Nouveau. And it's resulted in an impressive exhibition that will be presented not only in Amsterdam, but also in Karlsruhe and Braunschweig. The exhibition project is supported by the Mondriaan Fund, the Dr. Hendrik Muller Vaderlandsfonds, the De Gijselaar Hinsen Fund, and the Amsterdam University Fund. And we would like to thank them for their generous support. And of course, we need also to thank Yvonne Brentjens for her thorough research, the designers of the exhibition from Opera, the manager of the project, Int Alkema, and Studio Lauter, who created the introduction movie. At the end of the exhibition, we have a very special space where dancer and visual artists Susan Tunka and Matthias Ostrick present an interactive performance on inspired on the dance by Louis Fuller, which is also in the exhibition and which you will see at the end of our presentation. We need also to thank the lenders of the exhibition, the authors and the publisher of the publication, the institutions and the individuals who made illustrations available, the project partners, and last but not least, the exhibition team, the publication team, and all the staff members. Through our collaboration and exchange of knowledge, we can present a part of Europe's shared history in an innovative way and linked to current debates. This results in an exhibition and a publication that reveals a lot about Art Nouveau. We learn that the era of Art Nouveau was a confusing time in which we can see many parallels to ours. And the depicted women are not all real women. It's not for their beauty and seduction, it's all these female figures tell layered stories. And some 100 years ago, we saw the rise of mass consumption, mass culture and mass media. And Art Nouveau artists often used women as iconic images to express a repertoire of dualities. Harmony versus chaos, bravery versus fear, beauty versus ugliness, and loyalty versus betrayal. And these images tell, as I said, a layered story of seduction and commerce and on hidden allegories, hidden higher ideals and human feelings of timeless virtues. But you will hear more about this in the following interview by guest curator Yvonne Brentjens. And next year we hope to welcome you in person, on site, alive and kicking, to enjoy the exhibition in real life. And it's so sad that we now have to show you only the preview, and we are so looking forward to seeing our partners sharing this exhibition, this project with them, and of course also with the lenders. But at this moment we are happy to share the result of this project with you in this virtual way, and we hope that both the exhibition and the publication will inspire people, stimulate thoughts and discussion. Please let's enjoy the goddesses of the Art Nouveau and let them seduce you to look for their layered stories. But for now, you will get the first short impression on the exhibition.
welcome back everyone. So we've now seen a first brief clip of this fabulous exhibition. I am joined here by the curator of this exhibition, Dr. Yvonne Brentjens. Welcome Yvonne, good to see you.
Hello Tessel.
So I have a few questions for you now. This is an exhibition, as we all know by now, about Art Nouveau. And we will explore several aspects of the movement in a minute. But first I would ask, can you give us a brief impression of what we should think of when it comes to Art Nouveau? When is it? Where is it? And also what is it? What kind of medium are we talking about?
Yeah, of course. Art Nouveau was an art and design movement that existed roughly between 1890 and 1910. It had its peak in 1900, the year of the World Expo in Paris. It was an international style that flourished through the whole of Europe and even beyond, such as the United States or Argentina. Each country had its own name for it. For instance, in the Netherlands it was called Nieuwe Kunst, new art. And Germany, Jugendstil. And for instance, in Vienna, Secession. And because artists, Art Nouveau artists wanted to break down the traditional distinction between fine arts and applied arts, they worked in many disciplines, varying from architecture and interior design, for instance, to graphic art, ceramics, textiles, glass, jewelry, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's reflected in the exhibition because there is a myriad of wonderful works and objects on display. And I'm now going to ask you a question. As art historians and curators, we are not supposed to have favorites because that's not professional, but I can tell you we all have favorites. So I'm going to ask you now, what is your favorite work in this exhibition?
Well, of course, I have several favorites.
Yeah.
But perhaps my most favorite one is the Spirit of Ecstasy. It's a metal mascot that was designed by the British sculptor Charles Sykes.
Yeah, a mascot, you say.
A mascot, yes. Around 1910 for the radiator of the Rolls-Royce motor car. And the figurine depicts a slender, goddess-like woman bending forward, her arms stretched back like this, and her drapes fanning out as though it were wings with which you could fly. For the car company, this mascot embodied all the virtues of a Rolls-Royce, such as speed, energy, silence, grace.
That already sounds quite good, but can you tell me a bit more? Because why this work? What do you find so fascinating about it?
Well, I think for several reasons. First of all, it's an object that we all know, since it is still in use today. I like that very much. Furthermore, the mascot illustrates perfectly what Art Nouveau was all about. Artists in those days, they embraced new technologies and progress, but at the same time, they turned their back on society by fleeing into the past and into myths. And in the Spirit of Ecstasy, this conflict is very obvious. And finally, the mascot also shows beautifully what the main point of the exhibition is. Namely, that Art Nouveau's depiction of women was seldom about women. Although we see a female figure, the real subject is mostly about that what she represents. And in this case, she represents a human emotion, namely exaltation or ecstasy. And the object, therefore, has to be understood as an allegory, which means a concrete figure conveying an abstract idea or a deeper meaning.
I'm very much triggered by what you say, and also this idea that the figures, the female figures we see in the works and in the artworks, they have less to do with woman or women as such, physical, real-life women, but they are in fact metaphors in a female shape, allegories, as you say. And one of the things that I really like also in my own work in art and art history with allegories is that they seem very timeless. So if you see a woman with a blindfold and a pair of scales, oh, everybody knows that it's Justitia. but in fact they change. Their meaning changes over time. And artworks, of course, are always of their own time. They're embedded in their own time. And I would say perhaps that allegorical meanings are too. They have relevance in their own contemporary moment.
Yes.
I assume that this is the case as well for Art Nouveau, but I'm hoping you could say a bit more about that and maybe
Yeah.
have an example as well.
Well, it certainly is the case for Art Nouveau,
Yeah.
although it's rather a paradox, of course, that an art movement that reacted so strongly against the academic arts, the historicism and eclecticism of the 19th century,
Yeah.
that it expressed itself through the use of goddesses and other historical figures.
Yeah.
Not exactly a way to promote a new 20th century art, you would think. But as in previous artistic periods, the issues that Art Nouveau artists conveyed, they are very much of the time itself.
Yeah.
For instance, they have to do with the rise of nationalism or
Yeah.
the upcoming socialism and feminism.
Yeah.
And on display in the exhibition, there's a nice example. It's a calendar holder that was designed by the British artist Sylvia Pankhurst,
Yeah.
daughter of the prominent suffragette Emmeline Pankhurst.
Yeah.
And on that calendar, you see the winged Roman goddess Victoria. She holds a candle in her hand, and she leads a member of the Women's Social Political Union, the suffragette movement in England, the way towards victory over male oppression. And by the way, this calendar holder also proves that not only men made use of female figures,
Yeah.
but women and even feminists as well.
Yeah. And this is a women artist as well. That's excellent.
Yes.
So we don't have an image now of that artwork, which is another invitation to you to come to the exhibition and see it live. So continuing on about what you're saying about the relationship between works and the world around them, society. One of the things that really struck me in the exhibition when I was seeing it is that you use historical data on the walls of each room. So data of dates of political events, scientific events, inventions, those kinds of things. So it's quite prominent. And I must ask you, why do you think it's important to underline this relationship between art and society around it?
Yeah, it's true. I put a lot of historical data, and it's not the intention that you have to read them all.
I did, though. I did.
Yes, you did?
Yeah.
All right. But I added those data to, especially to evoke the tense atmosphere of that period, and also to help the visitor try to understand why all the galleries in the exhibition are about desire on the one hand and anxiety on the other.
Yeah.
For instance, imagine you learn for the first time that humans have a subconscious, or that the blood in your vessels belongs to a certain blood type, or that's even possible to capture movement on film.
Yeah.
Those discoveries, they can excite you in a positive way, but they can also lead to fear and doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And such mental conflicts were very realistic in those days. And I think they are the key to understand the paradoxical nature of Art Nouveau.
Well, you're using a word there, paradox, and I've heard you use it earlier as well. These paradoxes, it really strikes me in Art Nouveau and in the exhibition, because it's, well, you say it's about desire, but also anxiety. It's natural and it's artificial. It's progressive and it's reactionary. It's modern and it's nostalgic. So this tension between these paradoxes is quite clear and also quite exciting as a viewer, I must say. But can you say a bit more about the why of these opposing forces in Art Nouveau? Why is it such an important thing?
Yeah. Well, it's true what you state, and in fact, the paradoxes are also the thematic layout of the exhibition is based on those paradoxes.
Yeah.
And for instance, to be specific, body versus mind, progress versus tradition, bloom versus decay, and man versus woman. And those opposites, they are also to be found in the use of female allegories. It is often stated that Art Nouveau artists only made use of two specific women, female types, namely the femme fatale on the one hand, and the femme fragile on the other. In other words, the vicious woman that seduces men and throws them into misery, versus the tender woman who's caring and loving. Well, personally, I don't support that view because I think it's too much from a male perspective. And as the exhibition also proves, our artists use a wide range of female figures.
Yeah.
And many of them have neither to do with cruelty nor with sensitivity.
Excellent. So that's something also to take with us when we visit the exhibition.
Yeah.
I'm sure that many of you can't wait by now to see the show and the works for real. In closing, before I thank you, Yvonne, I want to ask you on behalf of the audience, so if the audience does come to this exhibition, let's hope as soon as possible, what should they keep in mind? What should they take with them when they visit the show and perhaps to deepen their experience of it?
I think, well, first of all, of course, they should just enjoy all the beautiful objects that are on display.
Yeah.
For instance, there's a fabulous early drawing by Piet Mondrian. You have the mysterious bust, La Nature, by Mucha. And there's also a very dramatic gilded centerpiece with a young woman standing in the middle of a whirlpool and unaffected about the drama that's unfolding around her feet, namely three men that are drowning. Well, the exhibition has a lot of that, of those very attractive objects. But a suggestion, I think I would say to try to look beyond all that glamour and all the seductive female appearances.
Yeah.
And well, because it's important to try to understand what they are telling, what their message is.
Yeah.
And I personally, I think I would be delighted hearing visitors claiming afterwards that they haven't seen a single woman in the whole exhibition, except, of course, for the last two galleries, where the theme is about women.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to hear your insights about this exhibition. And now we'll continue on with another impression of the show. See you in a bit. And we're back again from the exhibition back into the studio. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. I must say that it does give a really good impression of the show, of the exhibition, and also of the different aspects of it. The music we heard is by Claude Debussy, to Arabesque for piano. And this is also the music that you will hear in the exhibition itself, or part of it. There's also, as Wim said, an interactive installation at the end of the exhibition. And there's also a film clip from the Serpentine Dance by Lois Fuller, which will show at the end of this opening. So by the end of it, you will have seen a lot of things, of many aspects actually, of the exhibition already. And another important part of it is the book. And now I'd like to talk about the book as well. So this publication is actually a co-production together with the two German partners in this exhibition. It's a very lavish book, I must say, called Goddesses of Art Nouveau. It's been published already by W Books, so get your copy now, I would say. And Wim is joining me, or Wim is actually still here to join me in talking about the book. So this is really a beautiful, beautiful production. Can you tell me a bit more about it? What's in it?
Yes, thank you, Tessel. It's an honor to also highlight the publication, which is indeed a co-production with the German partners. And it was quite intense to produce it in these difficult times, but we managed to do. It has, in fact, two parts, which is one about several essays on the concept of new women, the graphic revolution, because as you can imagine, it works on paper, magazines, posters. It's massive. An essay on feminism, the femme fatale, which is a specific theme within Art Nouveau, women's clothing and jewelry. So it's highlighting specific aspects that are now, presented more in detail. So that's one part of the publication. Yeah. And the other part is, in a way, a catalog, highlighting the different collections from the Badisches Landesmuseum. They have a really top Jugendstil decorative art collection, with the masterpiece, of course, on the cover, La Nature by Mucha. Our colleagues from Braunschweig, they included great photography collections from Gertrude Käsebier and Käthe Büchler are in these collections, and they have also a massive monumental windfang. So it's part of interior, which is also lended by the Landesmuseum in Braunschweig. And the third part is the works on paper by the Allard Pierson. And
the third part in the book.
The third part in the catalog, yeah. So in this way, we also are, in fact, highlighting our collections, which are, of course, in the exhibition, but also trying to for instance, for the Allard Pierson, it's the first time to, in fact, also discover and disclose these collections, because they were a little bit hidden in these sub-collections, as I mentioned before. And there was one quite spectacular piece of art, a drawing by Aubrey Beardsley.
You made a discovery.
In the way we did, because it was already there, but there was a doubt on, is it really an original drawing? Because it would be unique in the Netherlands, and it is. It's the only original drawing by Aubrey Beardsley in the Netherlands. So it's now presented in a way for the first time in this exhibition. So it's in the catalogue, of course.
Oh, that's great. So this Aubrey Beardsley drawing is part of the Allard Pierson collections.
Yes, it is. Yes, it was part of the theatre collections, and but not extensively researched. But now experts have proven and yeah, made it authentic in a way, because it was lost in the where it was. It was already in the catalog of Beardsley collections.
So everybody, when the news breaks, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I have a further question, Wim. I actually leafed through the book already, and I must say it's also wonderful to see the photographs and the images, because it's such a beautiful book. But it's very well made as well. Can you say a bit more about the designer?
Yeah. We have a long-standing collaboration with W Books. In a way, this is, I think, in our series part 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And they're all designed by Mirjam Schlick, which is which is always a pleasure to see how they within the W Books and with Mirjam Schlick are combining the collections and the thematic essays. And of course, these Art Nouveau images are, of course, the ideal way to illustrate your publication.
Yeah.
So it's the result is magnificent, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So it actually acts as a companion piece to the exhibition. So it's a catalog, but there's also background essays and a lot more information.
Yeah, we hope it will survive after the exhibition, and
Yeah.
it will travel with the exhibition.
Yeah.
So there is now a Dutch and a German, Dutch and a English edition, but there will also be a German edition next year. And so we will spread the word.
Yeah.
And hopefully the exhibition will get the attention it deserves.
Yeah. So, and the book is available now, is it?
Yes, it's already published, because we were planning to open the exhibition in October, and then the book was already available.
So everybody, if you want to prepare for your visit in January or February, your homework is right here.
It is. And again, I want to stress the fruitful and very generous collaboration with our partners in Braunschweig. And I would like to thank especially Heike Puppelmann in Braunschweig and Eckhard Köhne in Karlsruhe for their trust and the way they stimulated the collaboration, because it's something that we have been talking about quite some time. But now it's happening. The exhibition is there. The audience still has to wait, but we are in close contact with our German partners and also the lenders.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that we cannot be here together to share this this piece of work and share it with our audiences. But that will be next year.
Yeah, it's still in the future. And in the meantime, we have the art, and art always offers solace, or at least it offers solace to me, even in very dark times. Thank you very much. I think that's all of it for now about the book. So that brings me to the end. So there's a few things I'd like to still say in closing. First of all, a lot of thanks to today's guests, Wim Hupperetz, you just heard him, and also Yvonne Brentjens, the guest curator. Of course, also on behalf of the Allard Pierson, merci beaucoup to everybody who made this exhibition possible, donors, lenders, museum partners, and everybody who worked on it. And of course, also thank you, the audience, because even though it's sort of strange to do this virtually, I am very much comforted by the idea that on the other side of the screen there's also people enjoying this opening and looking forward to the show. Now, if you would like to be informed about the exhibition or about other things from the Allard Pierson, you can subscribe. You can subscribe to the newsletter via the website of the Allard Pierson. You can catch up on your reading during the Christmas break by getting the book also via the website. And you can follow the Allard Pierson on Instagram, Twitter, and they still have a Facebook. Very old-fashioned. Now, all of us at the museum, of course, hope to see you live, IRL, at one point or other in January or February. And finally, to whet your appetite further for the show, I will leave you with a fabulous short film, The Serpentine Dance by Lois Fuller, and I look forward to seeing you one time or other in the new year. Happy holidays, everyone. Bye.